Hi, in this video I'm going to give you a quick run through of the different options that are available in Thrive Leads. So if I open up the Thrive Leads section of the WordPress admin, you'll see that we have three options here. We've got lead groups, lead shortcodes and Thrive boxes. So I'm going to start with the lead shortcode. So that's the most straightforward one. So if I click add new, give this a name, and you'll see there that it's created this this test form. It's given it, this is the lead shortcode ID, it's ID number 121, and the next thing I need to do is go into edit to actually create the first version of this form. Create form and call that form 1, and then edit design. And what it's doing now, it's opening up a Thrive Architect screen, which is Thrive Architect is Thrive's web page builder, but it's taking me straight to templates for forms rather than for blog posts or web pages. So let's pick one from the list here. Now you'll notice that that some of them are labelled as 2-step and some of them are 1-step. Basically the difference is a 1-step form is just a single form where you've got, like you can see in this one here, where you've got your text telling you what the form's about, and then you've got the form fields there on that same form. Whereas for 2-step ones, I'll pick a 2-step so as you can see what I mean. A 2-step one, you've got the first bit where someone just has to click the button to get the guide or say yes, they want to find out more, and then it would take them to a second page of the form where they'd actually enter the details. So with a 2-step one, you'll notice that down here we've got this plus sign, and we can pick which state we're going for. So we've got default state and we've got state 1. So if I flip to state 1, this is what someone would see after they'd clicked that button on the default state. And obviously I can customize any of the things there, so I could go in and change this to something else, like download your guide with 101 free tips or whatever. And you can also, as with all things on Thrive Architect, you can use these buttons here to see how it will look on tablet and mobile and make any changes that you need to. And if I didn't actually save that, sorry, let's save work over there. And then if I preview, you can see this is how it will look when it's used on the site. So that comes up first, and when you click free guide, and it will take you to the second stage of it. What you would also need to do is, in this second stage, you need to configure your form. So you could add new fields to it, so we can have a name there, and the placeholder is just what appears in the form before someone fills it in. Yes, we've got that, and if we want name before email, which would obviously be more usual, we can drag those that way around. And in here, the send leads to, this is where you would do add connection, and if you, assuming you've already set up your API connections, you could then select for the leads going to ActiveCampaign or HubSpot or whatever system you're using to store your leads and send out emails to them. So going back now to the dashboard, you'll see that having done that, I've now got my form in there. Obviously we haven't got any stats for it yet in terms of impressions or anything. But the nice thing with this as well is we could, if we wanted to, add a variation of that form. So if we wanted to test out 2 different versions, we could actually even just clone this form here, and we could go in and edit that one, and we could just either make some small changes there, or we could go over here to the template button and we could actually change the change the design of it completely. So we might decide that we want a one-step form to test it against instead. So in fact, there's the one-step version of that one. Don't think there is, but so here's a one-step one. So we can have that one, obviously make the edits to it, save that, and then we could actually start an A/B test. So what that would mean is that anywhere on the site where we inserted this shortcode, it would then automatically show them either this version of the form or this version of the form, and it would gather the stats. And we can give our test a name. So example test. Put notes there like one step versus two steps, so I know what it's about, and then start test. And after a while, you'll be able to see the data, and it will show you here what the chances are of one beating the other. So that's the lead shortcodes. I'm going to put those into a page. If I add a new page and open it with to edit it with Thrive Architect, what you'll find is that over in all the different elements that you can add to the page, if we just search for shortcode, there we are, Thrive Lead shortcode. So I could drag that onto the page, and it will bring up a list of all the Thrive Leads shortcodes I've already got. Obviously, we've only got the one here, which is our test one that we've just done. So I can insert test one, and as I say, because we've got an A/B test running, it's shown me that one, but in the real world, it would alternate as to whether people saw version A or version B. Okay, so I won't bother saving that. Okay, so that's the sort of the simplest one. The next one, if we go back to the Thrive Leads dashboard, is a Thrive box. Now, a Thrive box is what you would use when you want someone to take an action on the page, like click a button, click a link, and then a Lightbox form pops up. So give that a name. And so then again, it's got an ID for this, and a similar thing, we go in and we click edit, and we create the form. And again, you could have more than one form with this and do split testing, but I'll just do the one form for now. And you've got different animations with it. So you can have it appear instantly, or it can zoom in or slide in from the top. So you can go to any of these and see the demo of them. So let's go for slide in from the left, and then we can edit the actual design. And again, just like we saw before, we get the choice of all these different templates that we can use. Let's pick that one. And again, same as before, you'd have to go on to the actual form part of it and set up your connection, change the form fields to whatever you want, and then save that. And again, I'll just do a quick preview of it. Okay, so that's how it will look when people see it on the site. And the way we would implement that into a page, get that page, and again launch Thrive Architect. So as I said, this is typically used when you've got some text on your page. So let's put some example text there, and then let's say we had a button underneath, and that button could say something like download now or whatever, and then we would select the button, and down here in the action section it defaults to the fact that it would just go to a link or another page on the site if you clicked it. But if we get rid of that, you'll see here that we can actually add pop-up. If I click pop-up, the trigger will be clicking the button, and then we can open a Thrive Leads Thrive box like that. Here, then it brings up a list. So test 2. Apply that. Save. And now if I preview this, it's the best page. When I click download now, in it comes, and notice it's slid in from the left because that's the animation that we chose for that. And the nice thing with this is, of course, if you decided you want to use that on multiple pages, you can do so. But if you then need to update the form, you just go into the Thrive Leads dashboard, make the change there once, and it will apply on all the pages where that form is used. So now the final one to look at is the Thrive Leads lead groups. Okay, so the lead groups, these are probably the most sort of feature-rich ones. These allow you to have a form and specify which page from within Thrive Leads, specify which pages of the site it will appear on. So you could have your pop-up form that appears on every page of the site, or maybe only on your blog posts, or in this example here, they're talking about weight loss report. Well, if you've got a site which had things about weight loss and about fitness training, so you might decide to only have your pop-up for the weight loss report appear on the pages which were to do with losing weight rather than running or fitness training or whatever. So the first thing we do is create a lead group. So that's appeared up here. And the reason we have a group is we can have lots of different types of form within that group. So we could have, a 1-step, a 2-step, a ribbon, a pop-up, have all these different ones, and it will automatically test them all against each other. So you'll see here we've got the targeting options. So you can do this before or after you create the form, but this is where you can go in and pick the display logic. So you could say, I want it just on my home page, or I want it on all blog posts or all pages, or if we do both, it will come on everything. You could also do exclusion. So if you wanted it on all your posts and all your pages except for particular ones, then you could put the exceptions in there. So we'll just go for all posts and all pages for now. Save and close. Now we can add the form. So we've got different kinds of form here. So you can see we've got ones that appear actually within the content. We've got the pop-up light boxes. We've got ones that can appear at the end of every blog post. Ribbon is quite good for mobile because it's quite, it just sort of goes neatly along the top or the bottom. And then at the less subtle end of things, you've got the screen filler that comes in and takes over the entire screen. Anyway, you can play around with different ones and see what you like. So let's go for ribbon, and then we actually add the form. Create form, ribbon 1, and very similar to before. The first thing is we can go to edit the design. You've got settings here for what causes the ribbon to appear. So the trigger in this is defaulted to displaying as soon as the page loads, but you could have it that the ribbon only comes up after someone's been on the page 5 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever. But we'll just leave that on the default for now. Frequency is how often will someone see it. So at the moment, it's every time someone goes to the site, they'll see it. But you could change it that one particular visitor will only see it every 2 or 3 days or whatever, so you don't overdo it. And the position that this applies to the ribbon, you can have it at the top of the page or at the bottom. Right, so edit. And again, it will come up and suggest a range of different templates for you. You'll have a slightly different range potentially from before, because obviously it knows we're doing this as a ribbon. Let's pick that one at random. Okay, so there it is appearing. So this is obviously this is about downloading recipes. We can change that to whatever. We can change the picture. Again, you need to set up your connection from the form to the API for your email system. I'll just leave that on all the defaults, and if I preview that, yeah, so that's what it would look like at the top of a page. So let's close those. So now back in the Thrive Leads dashboard, you can see we've got the ribbon there, but we could have another we could do another variation on this, so we could have one that's a different color or different text. But I'm just going to keep it as the one ribbon type at the moment. So you see now we've got the ribbon, and we can choose whether it displays on desktop and mobile. So you might decide, well, I'm only going to use that on mobile, but not on desktop, because on desktop I'm going to go for something like a screen filler or a light box. Let's go for screen filler. So we've got screen filler there. We could say that's what's going to be, so that needs to have a form added to it. And you see you've got different options there for display frequency. As I say, because this is more intrusive, it's coming up as soon as the page loads. They've defaulted it to only showing up every 7 days, but you can obviously change that. Go for something that's not multi-step, because that will be quicker. Okay, so you can see this is a whole, fills the whole screen. I'm not going to make any changes to it, but obviously you could do. So I'll save that. And so now I've got my two different types of form there. I'm going to set that one to appear on desktop but not mobile. And there we are. So that's, so you could do more to that, but that's our basic lead group. So that's automatically been set to appear. So we don't need to go into particular pages or posts like we did before and add that into the page. That will just automatically apply now to any page that anyone goes to on the site, and that will appear. So there are, those are the three different types of forms that you can have in Thrive Leads, and a quick overview of how you set them up. And as with all these things, have a play, have an experiment, and see which type's going to work best for you.